We are here for a special episode today. This is out of our regime of natural scheduling because joining us today on the podcast is none other than Detroit Lions safety Brady Breeze. Brady, we are excited to have you here. How you doing, man?
Doing good. Glad to be here.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming in. Also, Brady, you have brought your missus, your girlfriend, Macy. Macy, how are you?
Doing good.
Glad to hear it. Obviously, the usual suspects with me on the Only Playbook. I got Shashot. Guys, I think I echoed the sentiment that this is the most excited we've been on the podcast.
Definitely. This may be the greatest day of my life.
Hands down. Yeah, we're not shortchanging that at all. I mean, that's absolutely factual. Again, the time that you're giving us today is something that we will remember forever.
It's special. It's special because, as a player that, is up and coming in the NFL, and as somebody that, as a group of people that love football, this is it was just meant to be.
Yeah. And Macy, for coordinating this, making this happen, thank you so much again.
Good work, Macy.
Yeah, exactly. So, Brady, let's jump right into it. Obviously, we're going to dig deep. We're going to talk surface level stuff. I'm going to let you kind of go at your own flow. But first things first is the name itself is probably the most football-esque name I've heard, right? Brady Breeze. Yeah. First of all, your first name is the last name of arguably the best quarterback of all time, Tom Brady, right? And then you have Breeze, who is maybe top 5 quarterbacks of all time.
Top 4.
Top 4, sure.
Drew Brees.
Yeah.
Top 2.
There you go. There you go. I love that. First and second. With that name, do you think there's a certain aura or something that adds additional value to you? Or when you go places, do people put the 2 and 2 together from a name and a football perspective? Or
Yeah, I get asked all the time, hey, is your uncle Drew Brees? Are you somehow related? I'm like, well, I'm pretty sure it's spelled different. Like, oh, yeah, I guess it is. Yeah.
Or when we check when he plays football, and I'm always scrolling through Twitter in case I missed a play, and I'm like, oh, shoot, I got to make sure I hit that. People will type in, are talking about Tom Brady and Drew Brees. And so it gets in the way because people type Breeze the wrong way.
Yeah.
So I think people just confuse them and think that they're related.
Yes. So when I was Googling, when you first came into my mind and when we talked about you, I was Googling it, and the autocorrect game was super strong by Google. It was like, did you mean Brady and Breeze? The spell the other way? I was like, no, Google.
No. Can't wait till Google autocorrects Drew Brees' last name to Brady Breeze. Did you mean Brady Breeze? Yes, that's what we meant.
What are some nicknames? I've seen Brady's Breeze effect on some of your posts. Do you have nicknames that people?
Some people just randomly started saying that the past couple weeks. Yeah. But most people just call me Breezy, Febreze.
Nice.
Febreze. I like that.
Yeah. So people call me all sorts of things.
Yeah. Chris Brown wishes he had your name, Chris Breezy.
Exactly.
Breezy. I mean, again, at the end of the day, the fact that the name comes with obviously a football scope, it just already that it's a conversation starter, right? I'm sure you get that a ton, like you mentioned. What I obviously want to ask with that is playing football, from the beginning. How did you know that you wanted to play football? How did that start? Who in your life influenced or pushed you in that direction?
Yeah, so as long as I can remember, I've been going to football games, even when I was a little baby. My parents would always take me to my uncle's games. My uncle was Chad Cota, played in the NFL for 8 years, and then played at Oregon too. But, as a little kid, me and my older brother, Bo, we would all go to the games and stuff and watch my uncle wearing his jerseys and stuff, wearing little mini helmets, tackling each other and stuff. Pretty much as long as I can remember, football's just kind of been a part of what I've been doing. Playing in the backyard. I think almost every single one of my siblings has broken a bone in our backyard playing football.
I'm glad we didn't have you tackle us then.
Yeah. I mean, it's just what we did. Especially Super Bowl night, me and the Winans family, the Cota family, the Breeze family, we all get together and play Hawaiian football, tackle football, ultimate frisbee, and it's freezing out.
Yeah.
And the whole family's inside watching Super Bowl. We're outside. It's pitch black. We turn on the backyard lights and just play football just because we loved it.
Those backyard football days.
Dude.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, nothing better. And then just, growing up and stuff, I feel like it was just kind of a part of me my whole life. So definitely blessed to be able to still play it, as long as I have, and hopefully to keep doing it for a long time.
Yeah,
cool.
Absolutely.
Awesome. All right. Part 2 of our questioning. So we are a football podcast, but we originated mainly for fantasy football purposes. And then it just kind of, things just flowed. So main question, do you play fantasy football?
So I did last year. I didn't do it this year. But NFL guys were not allowed to bet on fantasy football or whatever. But I was just gonna do it for fun this year. But the only reason I didn't do it, I was just too distracted. I didn't want to be like looking at it, trying to put in a new quarterback if they had a bye week or whatever. So I didn't do it this year. But I did do it last year, and I had Herbert as my quarterback. And did pretty good. Made it to the championship. I feel like my family, we had a little fantasy and everything. They definitely schemed up to try to beat me. They made some random trades I was a little skeptical about. Like, hey, what's going on here? We're colluding to try to beat me.
Yeah. Do you remember your number one pick in that year?
I can't remember, to be honest. Yeah,
Maybe
I'm not sure.
Christian McCaffrey or
No, my brother. Yeah, my younger brother took McCaffrey.
I love that you picked Herbert. That's not a biased pick at all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and he wasn't really even playing at the time. He was a backup, but I was like, I gotta have him on my team.
That's baller. That's baller. I forgot to give this to you before we started, like I said I would, but this is our gift to you for joining our podcast today. If you want to open it, made it really easy for you.
Thanks, dude. Sweet. Oh, sweet. The Only Playbook. Awesome.
A little tumbler. I don't know if you're a coffee guy or
I love it. Yeah, I love
anything,
coffee.
but
yeah, it's sweet. Yeah, I literally got one here.
Exactly. No, that's fantastic.
Let me go ahead and throw that one out.
Sweet.
Yeah. No, but that's our token of appreciation for you for joining us. So
yeah, that's sweet.
Yeah, it's good. Shout out Zelina for making those. Those are fantastic.
Yeah,
awesome. Yeah, so we talked about football. So what are some things that you do on your time off outside of football?
Love doing outdoor stuff. Whether it's like with my brothers or whatever.
Yeah. How many brothers do you have?
I got 3 brothers and then 1 little sister.
Okay.
Sister's my favorite. We're best
That's the most. That's the most protective sister on earth right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh
yeah. But wakeboarding, surfing, snowboarding, all types of stuff like that.
All the
Mountain
boards.
biking. Yeah, exactly. If you got a board,
I'm
we're on
jumping
it.
on.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, anything with water. I mean, I've been trying to get her to go to the beach somewhere with me.
Long walks on the beach.
You don't like the beach, Macy?
I just don't like the water. I'll stay on the beach, but he always tries to get me to go in the water, and then that's where.
She doesn't like when the waves are tearing her down.
Fair. Yeah.
That's fair. I mean, that's fair. I mean, we pictured just being as athletically gifted as you are, that there was more to like outside of football that you probably naturally love to do, like snowboarding and stuff like that. So
love golfing too. I'm gonna go golfing tomorrow.
Okay.
So.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, that's big. So when you're in the off season now, obviously you probably get some time off. Do you have like a training schedule when you have time off that they make you do, or that you just put on yourself to do, or when do you get back into training schedule that's like mandatory? How does that work?
Yeah, so right now we're pretty much just off. You can do whatever you want as far as training and everything, but we don't really, technically have to be back until May for our OTA workouts and stuff. So right now I'm just kind of chilling, just kind of been doing a few workouts here and there, just kind of get my body right. But I just wanted to, have a couple weeks just to rest, relax a little bit, because going every single day, your body just gets broken down. So I was just like, I'll take 2 weeks off, just kind of chill, maybe do a couple workouts, but not going to really pick up hard workouts until like February. Okay. And then in February kind of pick it up, and then March really pick it up, March and April. Thinking about maybe training Exos here or Exos in Florida, so one of the others.
Is that like a training facility?
Yeah, it's like a training facility that they have out here. Where is it?
It's in
Frisco?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Was gonna.
It's cool.
Yeah, I assume there's other people that probably train there as well.
A lot of it's baseball players. At least when he trained in Arizona, when I would pick him up, it was just like all baseball players everywhere.
Well, yeah, it's definitely mostly baseball for like December and stuff. It's their off season. But in February and stuff like that, it's all kind of combine training, college guys getting ready for the draft and stuff like that. And then just NFL veterans that are coming back in and stuff. Okay. So, yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah, excited to pick some brains and maybe some veterans that you see there and things like that.
Yeah.
But it sounds like it's all on your own discretion until May when OTA starts.
And it's on you. If you show up out of shape, that's your money you're gambling with.
100%.
So.
Have you been injured before?
So this year actually was our first preseason game. Was totally healthy throughout OTAs, throughout camp and everything. First preseason game, busted my ankle. Didn't break it or anything, but just rolled it super bad, like super high ankle sprain. And then it bothered me for like 6 weeks to where I wasn't able to get back on the field. Like I was trying to practice and stuff, trying to get out there to get ready for the games, but just not healthy and stuff. So had to end up going on the IR when I was at Tennessee. Was on the IR for 6 weeks and then was able to come back and start playing and stuff right away, which was nice. But yeah, that ankle thing was a bummer, and it was just frustrating.
The first one is like the worst.
Oh yeah,
ankle sprain.
Yeah, it was terrible. I mean, it was just, I don't even know how to describe it. It was black and blue after the game, but just kind of lingering, Yeah. And then I'm like being asked to try to practice and stuff, just never able to let it heal. And then throughout the whole season, that's why I always had to spat this year, which I never really spatted before, but just had to spat this year just to kind of get my ankle more protected. But it's getting better now, obviously, having some rest.
His trainer said that it looked like his cleat was drugged like by a truck or something, right? Like it looked really bad, like it should have been broken.
Yeah, so it was my first time actually wearing the cleats, and they were, totally normal cleats or whatever. But after the game, you look at my left cleat, it looks totally brand new. Like I just barely played a couple snaps. My right cleat looked like I dragged it on concrete for whatever. Jeez. Like it was like shredded. And I was like, dude, how the heck does turf even do that? But for whatever reason, didn't break my ankle, but just the tendons or whatever, and just kind of lingered for a while, but it's good now.
Yeah. So I'm actually a doctor, and I'm going to do sports medicine in the future, and you're more than welcome to come into my clinic.
Yeah, sweet.
We'll take care of you for free for the rest of your life.
Sweet.
Okay, so moving on. Who is the sports icon that has influenced you the most?
Yeah, so, when I was a little kid, I always wanted to be a running back.
Okay.
So Reggie Bush was my favorite player. Yeah. Reggie Bush, Danny and Tomlinson, those types of guys. Loved watching them when I was a little kid. That's why I wore the number 25. When I was in 6th grade, when Reggie Bush and all the Saints and everyone, we were the Saints when I was in Pop Warner as a little kid. Had the Reggie Bush designated gloves, his like featured Adidas Reggie Bush cleats. So I was all Reggie Bushed out. And then as I got older, the Tim Tebow era, I was a big fan of him. Just loved the way he represented himself. Big Christian guy and stuff. So I really respected him for that. A lot of people gave him some hate, but he was a hard worker, good leader and stuff.
I'm a Steelers fan, and he did us dirty in the divisional round where he throws it to Demaryius Thomas, and it's overtime touchdown. That was it's still there.
That one hurt.
That
exactly
for sure.
We have a buddy who's a big Tebow guy because he's a big Broncos fan.
Okay.
And so when Tebow was the thing,
Tebow time,
he was
yeah,
big
Tebow mania.
He's a big Tebow guy.
Yeah.
But no, that makes sense. Do you feel like being, I guess running back was initially kind of what attracted you? When did that shift happen that you were wanting to play defense, or they looked at you and said you're better suited to play defense, or I guess how did you adjust? Or I guess when you started playing football, was it always defense?
So kind of in high school, like I obviously played running back and stuff. But I just loved defense, and I felt like, this is kind of the position where I feel like I could actually, continue playing and stuff like that. Because offense is fun, but I wasn't, I'm not going to run a 4.3 or anything like that, So I was like, okay,
hey,
maybe
4, 5, 5, don't sell yourself short.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fast as hell.
Yeah. You'll beat me in a race.
No, but yeah, that's just kind of how it transitioned. I had a really good DB coach in high school, Anthony Newman, who played like 12 years in the league and then played at Oregon too. So really kind of looked up to him, got a bunch of good coaching from him, because he was a really good DB and stuff. So yeah, I just kind of made that transition and stuff, and feel like I definitely made the right decision,
Yeah.
Nice.
Do you enjoy the aspect that now you get to hit the position that you once wanted to play as hard as you can? Or do you look back and be like, I would love to be a running back and run somebody that's in my position over?
It's nice to score touchdowns, but it's definitely better when you're in control of making the hit, instead of taking it.
Or you can make the hit, pick the ball up,
pick six
with one hand, and score a touchdown.
Yeah,
I feel like that's happened before.
Nice.
Yep.
So my question was going to be the favorite player and favorite team, and so is the Saints and Reggie Bush, is that your favorite player, favorite athlete?
I never really had one specific team that I was, a big fan of. I always kind of watched the Colts and Peyton Manning and that whole era. Always been a Tom Brady fan too. He's been one of my favorite players ever. I loved watching the Patriots and stuff like that. Actually got to watch him in camp because I was actually hurt at the time, but we had a combined camp for the Bucs this year, Bucs and Titans.
Nice.
And just seeing him in person there, I was like, dude, this is sweet. Yeah, this dude's like one of my favorite players ever. This is sick.
Hardcore.
Yeah, I was totally fanboying. I mean, I wore his jersey. He was the first jersey I ever bought.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a good one. You picked right.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So seeing him in person, I was like, okay, it's pretty sweet. Yeah.
Did it ever feel like when you transitioned to the NFL, like everybody talks about the skill gap and how different it is between the percent of people that play college football that even make it to the pros versus college being like the tail end of their lives. Did it ever occur to you, or did it ever hit you that like once you got drafted, or when you were about to get drafted, or when you knew you were on the draft board, that this is real, like I'm going to take the next step? Or were you always so confident in your ability that you knew the NFL was your goal and you were going to make it there no matter what?
I mean, I always had a goal, obviously, to make the NFL, but I wasn't like, hey, this is the only way I'm ever going to be happy, you know, this and that. But, I mean, it kind of hit me midway through my college career where I was like, hey, I think I might have a chance to do something in the NFL. But I was never like, hey, this is a for sure thing. Like, I'm the best player ever. I never thought like that. I was like, hey, I think I can make a run at this. And, it was really kind of, really dug down deep and committed, my third year in college, so kind of midway through my college career. And, definitely worked out. But as far as the difference of the game, I feel like the biggest difference is the people's focus, my teammates' focus in the game. Mm-hmm. Where in college, people were just, showing up and going to practice and just kind of relying on, like their just natural ability and stuff. But going to the NFL, it's like, well, these guys are actually studying the playbook, and they show up to meetings. They actually know what's going on, and the coaches don't ever have to ask anybody, hey, did you watch film? They just know that they did. And if you didn't, then you're just going to get cut, and they don't even care.
Yeah. Shout out to DeMarcus Russell.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the empty tapes. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I guess the biggest difference is just people are on their stuff. It's a profession. People are here, and this is their job. They're not just doing it because, they're trying to get free school or whatever.
Absolutely. And
they're not worried about class after. They're like, hey, after practice, I'm going to go home and watch film. I'm not going to go, do my homework and stuff like that. It's just big difference of focus for sure.
Okay. That's fair.
Speaking of being on top of your game, so in terms, I know you can't give schemes and things like that, but what are good defensive coordinators doing to kind of set up a proper game plan and schemes? What are things defense coordinators are doing in the NFL
especially in now such an offensively driven league, right? You see the Mahomes, the Allens, those offenses that are so dynamic and high powered, and they always use the phrase you can't stop them, but you can try to contain them, right? So as monstrous and overwhelming as that feat seems when you're going up against a team like that on the offensive side, like what he said, what's something that you guys start looking at to start to narrow that scope so that it doesn't seem so insurmountable? Yeah,
well, we know what offenses are going to try to do to a defense is, hey, they're going to try and motion and try to get people looking different ways, and guess what? The ball's over here. Mm-hmm. It's just kind of like the hand and ball trick, hey, which one, Sleight of hand. So so they're always trying to do motions and stuff like that, but they're also doing that for formation recognition and to try to see if we're in man coverage. If we're in man coverage, you're going to see the guy follow. Yeah. And so what defenses will do will be like, hey, we're going to be in zone, but if they go in motion, you're going to run with them and make it look like we're in man. And then, that's why if you ever watch in defense, you want to watch the defensive line, obviously, to see if they're getting, good pushback, at the snap of the ball. But you also want to see the safeties, see what we're doing, because sometimes we'll be disguising hey, we're showing single high. Boom, we come back to two high, or we'll go single high, and then we'll flip all the way to the other side. Just all types of defense try to do that to mess up, the offenses and stuff. But offenses, are pretty good. Like Aaron Rodgers, he can pick that stuff up pretty well, obviously. So, they just try to do, stuff like that.
Is this all just vocally, telling the players that are around you, hey, let's switch and go single high or this and that,
Yeah, so it's usually just communicated at practice, obviously, hey, so when we get this formation, we're going to do this. And then on the field, you can hear, if you really listen closely on the TV, you can hear everyone saying, random words. You're like, what the heck does that mean? Yeah. Elephant. You'll hear the most weird words ever, and people are going to be running down doing all these types of motions and stuff. And I don't know, it's pretty sophisticated when you're out there, but it works. Yeah.
All right. So, kind of to take a step back from all the football talk, tell us about your diet as an NFL player. How intense is it? Are there limitations on what you can do as far as eating? How does that work?
Yeah. So, as far as off-season training right now, I'm just kind of I'm not being super committed to my diet. Obviously, we had some
Cooks a
Chick-fil-A. But really, when I'm like really into full training or even in the season, I'm not going to be eating, a bunch of ice cream or whatever.
Right.
I do only have ice cream the night before the game,
Okay.
surprisingly. Yeah. But yeah, just try to be committed as far as like no alcohol or whatever, no fast food, just basic stuff. I don't know. I'm trying to think how to describe it. Just like meat, veggies, and super low carbs. But the hardest thing for me this past year when I was trying to cut weight and stuff, for the combine training and everything, they have this whole diet set out for you. And it was just like one little plate for dinner, one little plate for lunch or whatever, and then a little burrito for breakfast the next day. The hardest thing for me is I was always hungry the whole time. Like, what the heck? I'm always used to being full. Like, what the heck is going on? Like, no, this is the exact amount of food that you need. Like, just trust it. Like, well, my whole life I've always been eating full, and I'm always trying to like snack on something, watching TV or whatever. You're always snacking. So that was a big, kind of new thing to me. And so I've been kind of trying to keep that. Like, I've been cooking a bunch the past couple of weeks.
Is it good, Macy?
He does the cooking, does the cleaning. It's very nice.
I'm like a housewife right now. But yeah, I've just been cooking steak, chicken, been baking chicken, but trying to do as few carbs as possible. Yeah.
Okay. And so you mentioned the meals that they have laid out for you. So during the season, people are making your food for you to eat?
Yeah, so during the season, it's like kind of buffet style where you can just come and grab it and choose what you want. But I always try to do like meat, veggies, and then maybe like some potatoes or something, but like a small amount of potatoes. But yeah, I definitely got carried away a little bit, eating too much. Yeah.
Favorite flavor of ice cream? You mentioned you like ice cream.
Yeah, so I was before the night before the game, we always have like a huge buffet type deal, and then they have a section where you can get like a pre-made, spaghetti and whatever. And then they have another section where it's like a person where they have like vanilla ice cream, chocolate ice cream, like Oreos, M&Ms, everything you can think of. And so I would always get ice cream and Oreos, and then maybe a little bit of chocolate in there.
Nice.
My buddy, he makes these really good. He calls it the Teddy Special. It's like the super good little ice cream thing that he makes, and it's kind of like his famous thing that my family always gives him, a good time about.
Nice.
So I always try to mimic that. It's not quite up to his par, but I try to mimic it the night before the game.
Nice.
Yeah.
Give you some kind of homey vibes to
exactly.
get yourself like in the right headspace.
Yeah, exactly.
What about pregame, like right before the game starts, or pregame meal?
Yeah, so pregame meal. I mean, that is another thing with the NFL. The games are a lot earlier. In college, you'd have like 8 o'clock games. It was the latest games ever. Where NFL, almost every game is afternoon. So pregame meal, just eating like an omelet, just veggies. Veggie omelet, and then a little smoothie or whatever with some protein.
I think it's cool they get to order the smoothies. He like picks it out every night before.
Oh, nice.
He wants
Yeah,
in the smoothie.
yeah, they have like a little app where you can pick it out and stuff, which is nice. Put a little spinach in there. It looks gross, but it tastes good. Yeah.
What's the weirdest one you've seen? What's like the weirdest pregame meal you've seen any of your friends through
Teammates,
college?
anybody, yeah.
high
Some
school?
people just eat a banana and they're good to go. I'm like, dude, you're not eating till like 4 o'clock is the next meal you're gonna have.
Dang, built different.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I guess that's probably the weirdest thing. It's just like almost nothing. I'm like, dude, I don't know how you play a game. Being hungry.
Yeah. Shifting gears a little bit, Macy, you can touch on this too if you want. How are you balancing now with the scope of being a professional football player, balancing work and personal life, juggling a long distance relationship, that side of things, knowing that as an NFL player, you travel, you don't get to see your family and friends as often. How has that balance been since you became an NFL player?
The biggest thing has been just like flying her out once in a while, like on the weekends and stuff. She got, she'd have, Saturday and Sunday. So she would fly out Friday night, come hang out on Saturday. And then I'd be at the hotel Saturday. She'd be at my apartment or whatever. And then Sunday she'd come to the game and have to fly out Sunday night and go back to work on Monday.
Wow. Dang.
Yeah.
It's terrible. It's like after work, we
Yeah.
have the same job. We can't take off work really, otherwise your whole base is terrible.
Yeah.
So I would go out after work, and then like the flights would always be delayed. So then we'd get in at like 11 o'clock at night, then go to bed because he had practice. Then he'd be there till like 1 o'clock too. and then he'd leave he had to be at meetings at 6:45.
Yeah.
So we'd get that time.
Yeah, just like
And
a
then-
small window.
Yeah, we
then,
get
see
lunch
him at
and
the
then
game,
that's pretty
and
much
then
it.
get dinner after the game and go home.
Yeah.
Yeah, get on.
Yeah, we made it work. Lots of FaceTimes and stuff. We got into the Hunger Games recently. Just trying to watch series and stuff
Yeah,
together.
yeah, that's good.
Have a little date night or whatever on FaceTime or whatever. But yeah, it hasn't been too bad. She was a trooper coming out and flying out a bunch. That was nice.
Nice.
Definitely appreciated that.
Heck
Now
yeah.
he's paying me back with doing the dishes and the vacuuming and finding things to do.
No, it's tough. I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, you kind of know, I'm doing long distance with my fiance as well. And, I have the luxury to fly out there whenever I want to some extent. So I typically do the Friday to Sunday thing as well. But I at least get the entirety of Saturday. It's not like she's having to do all these things on Saturday.
Yeah, exactly.
So I can't imagine. I mean, that's incredible that you guys are still making it work. And
Yeah,
flowing with it.
2022, right? We have all this technology now.
Yeah.
It kind of
Yeah.
helps. Imagine
Yeah.
players 10 years ago.
Yeah.
What do they do? Just
Yeah. There's no FaceTime.
right.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Pick up a payphone. Now I just
Telegram.
do FaceTime and set him down. Do my
Do
daily
your
life.
thing.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it makes it easier.
Cool. So you did mention your numbers on your jerseys throughout your career. You chose 25 for Reggie Bush. Why 15 now?
Yeah, so I didn't get to choose 15.
Ah.
Yeah, so I show up, I'm like, hey, what number am I? And they're like, well, 33, 25, and 7 are all taken, so here's 15. It's like, sweet, it's a sweet number. And actually, I
is.
really like it, honestly.
Yeah.
I remember when I was walking in for our first day of practice, and I had, my pads on and stuff, my jersey, and all the guys are like, new guy with the new jersey. I love the number. They hooked you up. I'm like, yeah, dude, they hooked
Safety
it
wearing
up.
15. That's
Yeah, and we
Yeah.
couldn't have physically seen that since 2-3 years ago when they
Yeah.
changed the number rules.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that's a really cool,
Yeah.
different dynamic that we wouldn't have seen.
Buda Baker was one of the first safeties to switch to a
Single
different
double- yeah.
single
Yeah.
digit
Yeah.
lower number.
Yeah.
So now things are happening. 15.
Yeah, I like it.
We got them on our shorts.
I know, I love it.
15, baby.
So yeah, and then 33. I've been all over your Instagram
Oh, yeah.
trying to see who this guy is. A lot of number 33 jerseys. Is there any significance to that one?
Yeah, so pretty much wore 33. That was just my dad's favorite number. He always wore it, kind of growing up and stuff. And so I was like, hey, you know what? I'll give him a little tribute and wear 33. Switched from, obviously 25 in college to 33 just to kind of give him a little shout out. Like, hey,
Nice.
thanks for everything you did for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
So going back to football, you mentioned the motions that defensive do, offenses do to see if the defense is actually playing zone or man. I relate to that because I play Madden and I
Oh,
do
yeah.
that on Madden.
Yeah.
So my question is, do you play Madden or any video games for that matter?
Yeah, I play. Yeah, she doesn't like when I play.
She giggles.
Yeah.
He's playing
I don't.
right before we got here.
We were literally about to get a TV here.
Oh, wow.
So me and Sweetheart, sorry to interrupt, but me and Sweetheart, we were in 2006. We used to play Madden religiously.
Oh, yeah.
We were number 1 in the country, actually in the
On
world.
Xbox Live.
On
Number
Xbox Live,
one.
number 1.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
We were
sweet.
that.
So
grinding.
I was in high school, right? I was in homework. He would take the first 2 games,
Yeah.
and then I'd be like, I need a break. Then he would do his homework, and I would take over
It
the
was
next
literally
game.
a system.
Yeah.
And sometimes I was like, oh man, it's the fourth quarter. Honestly, don't trust my play calling. Shisho, you take over. And I'd just be like, you know what, you do this. It was wild the way it worked out. But yeah, we grew up just playing Madden. We still play Madden. But yes, back to
That's
video
sweet.
games for
Yeah. So I was a huge Madden player all the time, but kind of stopped playing ever since Madden 25. I didn't like the update.
Yeah.
So I just haven't been as committed to Madden as I used to. I used to like doing the running back matchup on
Yeah.
a little mini camp,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Dude, oh my God. I'm getting
yeah.
flashbacks.
Exactly. And honestly, I feel like I kind of stopped playing because I would just play against my brothers all the time. That was the main people I would play against. I didn't really like playing online because it's not as fun talking trash online where it's like your little brother and he's beating you and he's talking to trash. It really hurts when your little brother beats you.
Can't relate.
Yeah, so really, I guess I kind of just stopped playing ever since I moved out, of the house and stuff.
Do you have a go-to team to play with?
Not really.
That's a
just
tough one.
with
That one
whoever.
changes
year to year.
quite often.
But I will say this, me and my brothers, and my cousins and stuff, we have a little group chat and stuff. We get on Fortnite or
Nice.
Mario Party together,
Heck yeah.
Mario Kart. I mean, we've been getting into
What's the one
Nintendo.
today that you're playing? It's not
Rocket League.
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
Another great game.
Yeah, we've been all about just the kind of like the teamwork games
Yeah.
and stuff.
So if you're working from home, he's always
Fortnite is like the best, like for the boys kind of game.
Oh, yeah,
right?
exactly.
When it first came out, I was so into it, and I would tell these guys because we grew up in like the Halo era,
Yeah.
where Halo 2 was like the thing, and I remember us like taking all our Xboxes, playing split screen, and like it was a big deal. And I'm like, guys, if Fortnite had come out at that time, or you guys were into video games this time with Fortnite, I think this would arguably be the best like team overall game we've ever experienced together. So I didn't get to play with these guys, but I played Fortnite so much that I understand, because it was so addicting and just so fun, and like the group environment, getting like 3 or 4 buddies,
And
it couldn't be matched.
You know, like Macy, so like, you know, there's going to be times where you're like, why are you playing so many games? You know, but there is a reason why that should actually be done by more people. And it's because, like, you know, you're out, right? Like, you barely get to see her, you barely get to see your family.
Yeah.
There's times that games, these video games, what they do for like people is that they give you that connection that you don't get to have with your bros or your, you know, family, that you're so close, you know, while you're growing up playing all these games. But you can do that digitally now. You can have that sense of connection that you wouldn't have if it wasn't for video games, you know? So it does give you a little bit of a mental break.
You just want to shit talk. Let's be honest.
Shit talk? I mean, when I'm winning all the time, why do I have to shit talk?
Yeah, he's the Madden king for sure. So.
That's awesome.
But yeah, no, I relate to that as well. Like, I tell my fiance all the time, like, because I used to play a bunch of Fortnite when we were living together, and she's like, really, again? And it's always like, all right, babe, good night. And then it's like, where are we dropping, boys? You know, like, get the headphones on. We're like, where are we dropping, boys?
Or she can hear the theme song in the background. Hey,
Wait a second.
what are you doing? I'm like,
Yeah,
don't
he's
worry
like,
about it.
I gotta
I'll
run. I'm like,
talk to you
to
later.
where?
Like, the boys are counting on me.
But sometimes it's nice because then I'll just sit in the room and scroll through TikTok.
Exactly.
And then he can't get mad at me
Exactly.
for just.
That's that balance,
Balance.
right? Your life, you together life.
It's
like-
just frustrating when I'm like, Brady,
Like,
and he's just not listening.
No, but it is a good point you made. Definitely the camaraderie thing. I feel like that's very, you know, important. And I was living alone this year, so it was like, hey boys, what time are we getting on?
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that. Definitely I feel like helps, you know, with long distance and moving around and stuff, being in different cities.
Yeah.
Either way, I can hop on with my brothers and stuff, my cousins.
Yeah,
you know,
or
my
Macy
boys.
can get an Xbox.
Yeah.
I have a Switch.
I got a Switch. That's what I bring with me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Portable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the whole, I guess, since the whole COVID thing happened, being remote or like not being able to leave your house, one thing that we started doing as our group too is like, dude, we got to still like hang out. We can't hang out, but we got to still hang out. So we started using Discord. I don't know if you've used Discord playing video games.
Yeah.
We started using Discord, and literally like on like a Saturday night, if there's like a UFC fight or a football game, one of us would just share it and we'd just be watching it
Yeah.
on
Oh, that's
Discord
sweet.
together,
Yeah,
right?
that's sweet.
So during COVID, when you couldn't physically see each other
Yeah.
and stuff, is the best way for us to all hang out.
We watch like Dragon Ball Z episodes.
Yeah, we were just like, reminiscing a bunch of random stuff.
Oh,
yeah.
It's just like a website you type in.
It's an application, actually. Yeah, you just create a username and password, and then you can invite people, and then you
Yeah,
just
I've
get
heard
a
of
huge
that.
group.
That's
yeah,
sweet.
it's a
yeah,
lot
Discord, you're gonna have to pay for us for that. For that
of fun. It's a nice little shout out there. Let's jump a little bit into football specific stuff. I'll kick us off
Yeah.
real quick. Ed Reed or Troy Palomalu?
Man, I gotta go with Troy Palomalu.
Nice.
Steelers
All
fan.
right.
Thank you. So I
got
I went to med school, right, on an island in the Caribbean, and you know, late nights we would have, and I'm just around a bunch of football-minded people all the time, and every night around 2 a.m., 3 a.m., this would come up all the time because there's a clear cut. There's a group of Ed Reed people and there's a group of Troy Palomalu people,
yeah.
and they will never agree. But they're so different in their own ways, right? So can you give us some insight from like an actual person in the NFL that plays that exact same position or, you know, similar? Why one versus the other?
I don't know. I just feel like Troy Palomalu, you don't look at him and you're not like, wow, this guy is super big,
Right.
super just like crazy, but he just makes plays. He makes like random stuff
Yes,
happen.
he does.
Like his interception where his hand is right under there.
yeah.
And that's
Like,
with a
dude, how-
dive, too.
yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, you're like, how the heck is this guy
Nobody else
you know,
is
making
thinking to
those
do
plays?
things like that, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like his brain's working differently.
Yeah, or like, you know, just jumping over the center, just stuff like that. Like Ed Reed was a freak too. Like, don't get
Absolutely.
me wrong. And just like what he stood for, just being a leader and stuff. He was a freak, but Palomalu was just quiet and just played the game, frickin' how you're supposed to play it. Yeah, like I watched his, you know, 30 for 30 on, I mean, that dude's legit, obviously. But I just love how he would just kind of go off the radar as far as like they'd have a defensive call and be like, you know what, I think it's going to come over here. And he would just go, you know, on his own and just go make a sack. And the coach is like, hey, dude, like, I mean, you
Keep
made the
doing
play.
you.
Yeah. I mean, we're paying you to make plays, so you're making plays.
You're making me look good.
Yeah, exactly. I just kind of love how he just had, just a crazy instinct for the game and just a beast.
I think that's the difference, right? Ed
Yeah.
Reed was physically way more gifted as far as speed, as
Yeah,
far as,
exactly.
Even like just overall hitting ability, all that.
right.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
that crazy clip of Ed Reed where he's like on a punt.
Yeah,
he's
it
on
was
the
a punt
special
return.
teams, and
Yeah.
he's hustling so hard that whole play, and at the end of the play, he makes the play, right? So it's like you just have to like stop and like be like, is that normal? Like, does everybody do that? And they don't. It's like these instincts that these greats have that that clearly make them stand out versus like somebody else. And that's why this is such a funny conversation, is because there's just both elite, like top of the top, right? But there's still a difference between them, and we just have to appreciate both sides rather than be like, I want this and I don't want that. You just have to have love for both.
Yeah, it's like who you can gravitate towards or relate towards more, right? Like you said, you like the playmaking, intangible, instinctual ability
That's also
of Troy
me.
Palomalu.
That's also me. That's why I like Troy Palomalu.
Versus the Ed Reeds. But again, you can't go wrong with either. Both are Hall of Famers. I mean, we're talking about two of the best safeties ever. So
Nice. Speaking to like Troy Palomalu or Ed Reed, we have another one for you. This one's probably gonna be a lot easier. Joe Burrow or Justin Herbert moving forward?
Man, I don't want to give a biased answer here. That's a good question. I mean, obviously Joe Burrow's going to play today in the playoffs and stuff, and he's turned them around like no other. But that's tough, man.
Yeah.
I can't go against Herbert.
No.
I mean, Herbert brought the Chargers from the ground up. It's pretty sweet to see what they've done. I guess I got to go with Herbert.
Yeah,
I can't go against him.
You can't really go wrong.
You can't go wrong.
Especially
Yeah,
like right now,
regardless.
there's no way. Like they're both amazing. I think Burrow, Mahomes, and Herbert.
Yeah,
Like
top
I know
three.
Mahomes is like a little different because he's established over time. He's made a Super Bowl twice.
Yeah.
But I think as far as just skill set and like what the new age of football is going to require, it's going to require those type of quarterbacks.
Yeah, I feel like Joe Burrow and Justin are going to be, kind of the trendsetters.
Yeah.
Going forward, which
Like,
is cool.
this generation's maybe, like, how you had the Peyton and the Brady. I'd argue maybe slightly before Burrow and Herbert, we could say like maybe Mahomes and Allen get their own echelon or their own timeline, and then it's like the Burrow and Herberts, right? And the one thing that us watching Justin Herbert this year, I had him on my fantasy team this year too, so I was a big Herbert guy.
Sweet.
Big Herbert guy. He, like that last game against the Raiders when they had to convert like 6 different fourth downs.
Yeah.
The one thing that stood out to me about Justin Herbert is at no point did it look like he was like shelled or like nervous. Like it was the most composed to where I was like borderline worried. I'm like, does this guy actually show emotion? Because he was so composed. I was so baffled at how young he is in that spot. Fourth down conversions to literally lose the football game if you don't convert. And it was just like another play to him. Playing with him at Oregon, do you see those types of tendencies in his natural personality? Is that just who he is, or does he have fire in him? He's able to keep himself composed.
Yeah, so it's funny that you say that because just in practice, just like no composure. Like no matter what situation we're going over, it's just like blank face.
Yeah.
Just like he's just throwing the
He's
ball
a funny
like
guy.
a beast. Yeah,
He says some weird stuff. Like, I've watched his highlights, like the practice highlights. We're just reciting like Borat lines and like just a bunch of random. I'm like, this is a bro. Like he's like one of us.
Yeah, he's like the most normal guy off the field ever. Obviously super humble and stuff. So it's just crazy to see him out there doing the exact same things that he did at Oregon. Just as far as his composure, and he's just taking it even to a higher extent. And I don't know. It's also cool to see just kind of his personality come out. Especially when he's doing interviews and stuff, you can just tell he's like more energetic and stuff.
Yeah.
Because he's just comfortable. He's in a place where you can tell he's having fun and enjoying the game, which is good to see.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So you have played in college, now in the NFL. You played up there in Oregon and traveled all across the country. There are differences in elevations in all these areas, right? So playing in different elevations, does that matter to you as much as far as preparation for these different settings? Like if you're playing in Denver versus playing down in New Orleans, like do you feel physically tired? Because I know it's a concept that as we watch TV as like watchers, they talk about it. Like the announcers are like, yeah, we're in Denver, mile high, like the ball's traveling at a certain speed here. As a player, do you change anything you do for preparations for those type of games?
Yeah, so I never actually had to play in Denver.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I never had to play in the high altitude. But I will say this, going from just like in Detroit, we would go indoor, then all of a sudden, boom, you're in an outdoor game, and it's like 30 degrees
yeah.
outside, so just kind of getting used to playing in those different environments is whatever. I mean, you adjust to it throughout the week. Like when we were playing Seattle, we practiced outside in Detroit that whole week, and it's like freezing cold at practice and stuff. But it's like you can't practice inside because then you're used to having a warm hands 100%. Catching the ball, warm hands throwing the ball as a quarterback and stuff, and then you go to the game and it's all of a sudden cold, So I don't know. The coaches kind of have it figured out to where they just do the adapting for us, and we just kind of adjust.
What about the craziest college atmosphere that you had to play at, like the opposing team?
That's a good question. I mean, Arizona State was pretty rocking for us. We went and played out there. They beat us both times we played there. But I mean, for whatever reason, they freaking brought the heat. As far as the crowd and stuff.
Because they have like the fireworks.
Yeah,
they
like
just have so much that they put into
aren't
the
they
game.
Aren't they like the #1 party school in America too?
Yeah.
Arizona State
or
Sun Devils.
Yeah. Just exactly what she's saying. Just like they're, it's almost like a show. When they're running out the tunnel, it felt like you're in an NFL game where it's like a huge production and stuff. But Washington State, we went up and played there, and it was like the first college game day that Washington State had or whatever. And it was just packed out to the house. I mean, like freezing cold game. They obviously beat us in that college game day game. But that atmosphere was crazy. I mean, because they were so excited to have their first game day. And, yeah, they were pretty loud that whole game. Yeah.
The 49ers have to go to Green Bay, Lambeau Field to play, and Cali all the way to Green Bay. So I feel for those guys. I'm sure they're doing the same thing.
9
you're talking
degrees
about.
in Lambeau tomorrow.
Yeah,
at the same time.
And I've been hearing a bunch of announcers saying, the quarterback isn't going to be used to the cold. I mean, it's not going to affect him, I don't think.
He'll get used to it in a week.
He's a pro.
Yeah.
He's a professional NFL player. You think that's something he'd have to prepare for, right?
Yeah. Let's say, for example, you have when you're in the game, you have a broken coverage, right? And you don't know where you're supposed to be. You're in the wrong place, for example. What are you looking to do to still make a play? Just make a play.
Run fast.
And hit them hard.
Use that 4.55 speed, man.
Literally, the last thing you want to do is like be looking around like, did I just make a mistake? No, you just run. Just at least run in circles or something. Like run somewhere. You don't want to do nothing.
Was in the wrong spot. What game was that?
I think
now I'm calling him out.
Call me.
I don't remember. Honest. What game was it? This year?
Yeah, it was this year. You got yelled at. I don't know. Was it your first game on the Lions or one of your last Titans games?
Not sure.
I just remember he was in the wrong spot, and so he was like so bummed because he was like, "Oh, it was such a stupid mistake. I don't know why I did that."
So we're playing the Patriots, and they had switched to like something we hadn't really practiced much, and me and this guy, I'm not going to say his name, but we both, go and do our job, but we blocked the wrong guy. Blocked him freaking all the way, tried to throw him out of bounds and stuff. Did a great job, but we blocked the wrong guy. And the guy that I was supposed to double team with was all alone. And so I felt pretty bad because obviously I got chewed out for it. But me and my other teammate, we just thought we were doing the right thing. We're like, hey, it's me and you, go and block this guy. And then I come to the sideline, I'm getting chewed out. And I was like, well.
I mean, if it makes it feel any better, Tom Brady thought it was 4th down when it was 3rd down.
Exactly.
So,
Kirk Cousins lined up behind the right guard as opposed to the center. So people make that happens.
I saw that play.
that happens.
Yeah.
But that's a great point, right? And I think you almost answered the question asking that because naturally I would just be like, if you're out of place, your goal is going to be no matter what, try to make a play.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? I mean, I guess that's going to be tough in the situation, but knowing where you need to be instinctually. I'll go next. I don't know how in-depth you can get about this, but we, following the football all year, me and him are huge Vikings fans, so obviously we follow the Detroit Lions and we get to see at least they play each other twice a year. Head coach Dan Campbell, he's obviously been on the scene a lot. He's busted his ass, and I feel like he really deserves the position that he's in. And you can tell that like the players have kind of formulated around him with the lack of talent that the Lions have had relative to other teams they've played. What can you tell us, at least what you've experienced from Dan Campbell, that all these guys seem like they can get behind him? Like it just seems like he's built a culture in that locker room.
Yeah, I mean, I got to put a disclaimer out there. I've only been there for 4 weeks.
Sure.
So I only know him for the 4 weeks that I've been there, but in the 4 weeks, you could tell that, the players are really rallying, around him. And I feel like everyone trusts him. The players know, like, hey, this guy cares about us as players. He's not just going through the motions and stuff. And so I feel like everyone definitely appreciated that. But, yeah, he's just a guy that loves the game. Like, he would have, our team meetings and stuff before practice. And he'd just be like, hey, let's go out there. You're playing, for the name on your back. We're obviously not playing for the playoffs, but we're playing for, the respect of the game and the name on your, on the back of your jersey. You're playing for your family and stuff, and you're playing to go out there and have fun. You're not just going through the motions. So let's go out there, have a good week of practice, have a good game and stuff, and let's go have some fun. And sure enough, that same week that he gave that big speech, we go and beat the Cardinals and stuff. So I just feel like, the team really respects him. We know, okay, this is kind of a rebuilding year. And, we're going to kind of rally around this guy. And I'm really excited for next year. I feel like, we have a good group of guys, and we got some good draft picks coming up. So I think there's a lot of positive, going into this next year. And then the season with the win was really good, obviously. I just know the staff is obviously excited about that too. So it should be fun.
Yeah. So, I mean, you mentioned the draft picks coming up. You ended the season, beating Aaron Rodgers and when he didn't even want to sit out that game.
Yeah.
So you obviously were there during this Amon Ra St-Brown come up, right? It's like out of nowhere. He was arguably in the last 6 weeks of the season the best wide receiver in football, like statistically. So tell us a little bit about him. Like, I know you were there at the tail end of this, but like, what's he like? Like anything particular? Just a normal dude?
Yeah, super chill. Yeah, just normal dude. Like I was thinking, okay, maybe he's gonna be just kind of like a hype guy or whatever, like super funny in the locker room, but just super normal dude. At practice, he's going like full speed, never took any reps off. But yeah, he's a pro. I mean, the reason he's making these plays because he's working so hard in practice. And he just knows what he's doing. He's never the guy like in practice to like, hey, you're in the wrong spot, this and that. Like he always knew what he was doing, always just working hard, and it was good to see. I mean, you can tell the team freaking loves him, because he's making so many plays, and then he's just a good guy in the locker room, which is awesome. And I mean, I feel like he's just gonna keep getting better every year. But it's cool to see a West Coast guy, ball out like that. So that was fun.
Yeah, he's been on a tear last 4-6 weeks, right about the time that you came along. So maybe you're the good
vibes
luck
you brought there.
Exactly.
Breezy vibes.
The breezy effect. Speaking of good luck, are you superstitious? Do you have any superstitions or anything like that?
Yeah, I feel like I'm definitely a little superstitious before the game. Not crazy superstitious, but definitely a little bit.
What is your superstition?
Any rituals?
Not like any ritual. I guess I just always eat the same food. I always get there early and just do the kind of the same routine. Always wear 2 sweatbands my left arm for whatever reason. I guess that's kind of my big superstition. Like the game I messed up my ankle, I didn't have the 2 sweatbands. No. And like after the game, I'm like, what am I doing?
Never again.
Yeah, I was like, why did I do that? But even literally before I hurt my ankle, I realized I didn't have my sweatbands on. So I was like, hey, trainer, give me some tape. So I literally put 2 stripes of tape just because I was superstitious about not having it. And then sure enough, I get hurt. I'm like, dude, why did I do that? But that's really the only superstition I have. I'm not crazy superstitious, but
have you heard of any crazy superstitions like around the players that something or a ritual that they do or they have to do before a game or anything like that?
I mean, nothing too crazy.
Okay.
I don't really know of anything like super crazy, but I remember at Tennessee we had a guy. He's like obviously one of the kind of bigger names guys, but I don't want to say his name. But he's got these big old like literal like dead animals above his locker that he has like stuffed. And I don't even know if you want to call that a ritual, but it's just
small
funny.
Animals?
Yeah, like he's got like a little beaver up above his locker. It's just like, hey, what the heck? I remember I walked in, I'm like, what the heck is this? Like, is this guy trying to sell these to us or something? And that's just like his thing.
That's his thing.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's fair to assume that moving forward, every game you play for the rest of your life, you're going to have these double sweatbands.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe add one more just for extra measure.
Exactly.
Extra safety. Okay. So, how is it different? And again, feel free to dive in as detailed or not. What's different when you have meetings that are team specific, like the team as a whole, versus position specific? Like how does it differentiate? Like how much of that onus is on like your positions coach versus like the overall head coach telling you guys what to do? Or is there a dynamic there, or kind of more of like hey, the positions coach has full-fledged control to deal with that position the way he feels fit specifically for your position?
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely going to be different. Like, a team meeting, you're just kind of talking about the overall goal of the team. Like in Tennessee and in Detroit, we would kind of go over like, hey, what are our goals for this week? What are we trying to accomplish? What do we need to keep in mind, against this team? And then when you break off into your position groups, it's like specific stuff like, hey, in this coverage, we're going to do this. like we're going to change this week. This is going to happen. Your stance is going to be like this. You're going to come down to like 10 yards or 15 yards. You know, it's like super specific stuff where a team meeting, they're just going to kind of do the general, you know, goals and everything like that. Some stuff we need to clean up about the, you know, the practice before or whatever. But, you know, your position stuff, it's like, it's legit. Like, that's really one you need to freaking take notes and, like, be locked in because you're going to miss something if you're not paying attention. Yeah.
That 10 and 15 yards, like, is that based off of wide receiver? Like, how do you determine, like,
so that could be based usually off, like, the down and distance. Yeah. You know, I feel like every defense has a call where it's like 3rd and 15 or whatever. The safety's not going to drop down to like 8 yards. Yeah. He's going to come down, you know, right at 15 and just kind of sit there and wait. You know, if they're doing like a robber coverage or whatever, you don't want to drop down to 8 yards and then have to run back. You know, it just kind of depends on, you know, the down and distance.
What's your favorite, like, formation on defense for your specific position? What do you like to be at for control?
I really like being in the post. Being in the post of the box, I like coming down in the box and fitting the run and stuff like that. But I definitely like being in the post. It's kind of being the deepest guy where you can see everything and just kind of react off the quarterback. I just feel like I'm really comfortable being in the post, just kind of seeing everything.
So,
you know?
So that being said, who is like your current favorite safety outside of yourself?
That's so weird that me and him had the exact same thought process, and it'll make sense in about 30 seconds.
I always loved watching Harrison Smith.
I knew it. That's literally why we said that.
Yeah, and I know I saw some Viking stuff in here. But yeah, he's a guy that I always loved watching in high school and college too. Yeah. I mean, I even had a Harrison Smith jersey in my closet. But
let's go.
But I don't wear it anymore. But I'm a big fan of him. I just love the way he plays and you know how hard he plays and stuff like that. But everyone that I played with that have played with him, they all said like he's just crazy smart, like just knows the game. So it's kind of cool to hear. You know, he's just a crazy smart dude. Yeah.
So you played with Coach Campbell for 4 weeks, and then prior to that you were with Coach Vrabel. What are some like differences within those two coaches that you can kind of speak into?
I mean, Vrabel's obviously a very defensive-minded guy. Mm-hmm. Like, we would be doing scout team defense, so giving the offense a look for what they're going to face, you know, whatever team we're playing. He would be out there, like, playing linebacker.
Yeah, I've seen videos. Yeah. He was like, I think you guys were together, and he, like, tries to fake tackle you or something.
Yeah, before the game. I know what video you're talking about. Yeah. But he's just, he's, like, just a goofball, dude, Coach Vrabel. But he can be intense. Like, if you get on his bad side, you don't want to be on his bad side. You know, he's an intense dude. But it was cool how, you know, he was just like a super defensive-minded guy. So I definitely appreciated that, being a defensive guy. And Campbell's like a super smart offensive guy. Obviously, he played offense, you know, in the NFL and stuff. So, you know, when he's at practice, he's freaking, like, going through the offensive stuff, making sure that they're calling the right plays. When we're doing special teams, he's sitting there making sure we're making the right checks and stuff. So really just the biggest difference, just defensive-minded guy, offensive-minded guy, and you can definitely tell the difference, you know, who they focus on. He's making sure, like, offensive guys are doing their thing. And he would check in with the defense, obviously, but, you know.
That's his main focus is going to be the offense.
Yeah, and then Vrabel, too. Like, you know, he's making sure that the defense is ready to go, you know, because that's kind of, like, where his mind is at. Yeah. But checking in with how Derek's doing, you know, Tannehill was doing. But both really good coaches, you know, love playing for him. Yeah.
Any specific – up until this point, it can be college, it can be the pros. Any specific opponents that stand out in your mind when you've faced them on the field or they've been on the same side as you, that on the field you're just like, holy cow, this guy's just different? Like, is there anybody that you can think of that just totally stands out or jumped off the page when you saw them?
Yes, we were playing the Patriots. Obviously, everyone's heard this name, Matthew Slater. Yeah, big special teams guy. So, he was one of my favorite players watching just because he's like a true special teams guy.
Best special teams player of all time.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of my role, you know, the past, you know, year in the NFL, just mainly playing special teams and stuff. And so going against him, I was like, well, it's kind of sweet. I'm blocking one of the best, you know, guys ever.
Did you knock him down?
No, I didn't knock him down. I almost did, but I didn't knock him down. He's just like a freaky good player. And then watching film on him, I mean, he's been in the league for who knows how long, like 12 years or something. Yeah. And he's still one of the first guys down on kickoff. You're like, dude, how the heck is this guy? You know, how is he so fast, you know? And, it was definitely fun playing against him. And then Cody Davis was another guy on the Patriots. everyone called him White Lightning because he's a white guy, but he's the first guy down on kickoff, like just crazy fast. I don't know what his 40 was, but had to be something fast. And if it's not a fast number, it's definitely faster now. I mean, he's just like a guy that was just so quick. I mean, watching film on him, nobody could block him because he's down there so fast. They can't even get set up at the right time. So going against those two guys, I was like, well, these guys are, they're both veterans. They both knew the game. And both crazy fast. Yeah.
I was going to ask, so a lot of us, like the average watcher of football, we're just so gung-ho about the 40-yard speed, right? But looking more into it, I feel like the cone drills play a bigger importance in actual gameplay. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I could definitely see the shuttle being like a big part of how people play. I mean, the 40, it obviously matters, but it's really the first 20, it's about your start. If you don't have a good start, you're not going to have a good 40. Like I heard Odell's 40, he wasn't even at top speed and he still ran like a 4.3 or whatever. But when he finished at the 40-yard line, he wasn't even at like his full speed. So he was still accelerating,
Wow.
And so it just shows like guys like that are just freaky fast. They're not even getting to their full potential, by the time they hit 40 yards. So yeah, I don't really know what to say of that, but it just shows there's some freaks out there.
Yeah,
honestly.
I think it's a good question, and it makes sense because we've seen guys who put together really fast 40 times, and then for some reason when we see him on the field, we're like, that guy looks like he should probably be faster. He ran a 4.3. And then we see guys who ran like 4.5s, 4.6s. You put them on the football field, and all of a sudden they're playing so much faster than their 40 speed indicates, right? Like, to me, a good example of that was Najee Harris. Najee Harris ran like a 4.6 something, 4.64 or something like that. But when he's on the field, he looks a lot faster than a 4.64. Specifically for a running back. So I think it's interesting to know that because, we're so gung-ho because we're looking at the mini camp and the draft and all that stuff leading up to him. Like, all right, what's this guy's speed? What's this guy's 40? And that's automatically what we always go to. Oh, he ran a 4.5. He's too slow. We don't want him. But there's so much more to it than that.
Yeah, Najee's stiff arm is definitely more to it than that.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes up like 2 seconds of speed that he doesn't need.
Yeah, I would not want to be a defensive player trying to tackle him. So outside of football, what's your second favorite sport?
I always played baseball growing up.
Nice.
Played basketball until my freshman year of high school, but baseball is definitely my second favorite sport. Center field.
Nice.
Yeah. Ended up almost trying out for baseball at Oregon, but I never did.
Ooh, really?
Yeah. My dad was like, dude, you're going to regret it. And I kind of regret never trying it out, because obviously loved it growing up in high school and stuff. I actually got recruited by Oregon for baseball before I got recruited for football.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so really love baseball. Kind of wish I would have tried it.
What was the deciding factor then? If you had such a passion for baseball, how did you decide that football was the path?
I just love football.
Yes.
It's like
there was like a time where Brady was like having a hard time. Like I don't know what year it was, but you're like, I just feel like I'm not playing enough.
Yeah.
And you're like, maybe this is the time that I should do both of them.
Yeah, so I wasn't.
You had a lot of thinking to do about it.
Yeah, no, definitely. I forgot about that. So, I was kind of like, I wasn't really getting much playing time for football. So I was like, well, maybe I should try a little baseball, see what happens there, But obviously football ended up working out and stuff. But
it's the best sport.
Yeah,
I just want to say that's such a good problem to have when you're like good in baseball and football. Like, I don't know which one to do. Like, that must be really nice.
Yeah. Yeah, football. I mean, I just had too much love for football. Once I got a scholarship for football, I was like, dude, I'm playing football. Oregon is my dream school and stuff. So.
Yeah, Oregon, and that's another thing about Oregon is they always obviously stand out just because they have a contract to get all these badass jerseys that every other school apparently can't get.
Yeah,
Nike dudes.
Yeah. So that's always probably super fun. Is how many different jerseys does an Oregon football player get to shuffle between?
I think I walked away with like 31 jerseys.
Whoa!
Yeah, it's crazy.
I was not expecting that number. I was going to be like 8, 12. That sounds right. That's still
yeah. So I got a closet full of stuff. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
So kind of like to take a step away from sports in general. So let's get a little philosophical here. Your favorite quote?
Play with passion. I know it's not really like a big time quote, but it was always my dad's quote. So we had a little baseball team that we had, the Medford Giants, or the Southern Oregon Giants, what we called ourselves. And we had like these little T-shirts he's handed out to all my teammates and stuff, and always said "play with passion," So that was like his big motto. Even to this day, like, you know, if he calls me before the game, he's like, hey, you know, no matter what's going on, you're freaking playing the NFL. Go play with some freaking passion. You know, don't go out there and
that's amazing.
Play. Yeah.
Because my favorite quote also has the word passion in it. I don't know who said it, but I told it to these guys a couple of weeks ago. But it goes something like this. It's like, if you follow 5 passions throughout your life with intent, it will lead you directly to your purpose. So basically, you have to do things you're passionate about with passion. Otherwise, it's useless, right?
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to go in there with like a little bit of intent. You know, you got to go in there all the way.
All in.
Yeah.
Are you? This might be a little off topic, but this is almost raising questions in my head. Do you guys feel like there's people out there that can attack anything with a certain level of passion, that they're just built different? Because for me personally, like I talked about it, hopefully nobody from Fisher listens to this, but if they do, whatever. Like everybody I talk to at Fisher, I've let them know, like, you know what, I can do this job decently, but this isn't my passion. And I know that takes away from the amount of effort I'm able to, or I even really want to give, right? And that's just the natural reality of things. But this podcast, something like this, right? I can go home and I'm tired as hell. Like, I don't want to do anything, but I'll still pull this up and still start looking at podcast stuff, because that's what I'm so passionate about, that there's no point in my time or my life where if I'm doing that, I feel like I'm wasting time, or I could be doing something different. So do you guys, and this is for all of you guys, do you guys feel like until you truly find your passion, it's hard to give that necessary level of effort into it to succeed? Or are there people that, again, naturally can just give the same level of effort no matter what they're attempting to do in life?
Yeah, I feel like there's definitely people that no matter what they do, they're giving it, you know, their entire effort. Like, I know everyone says this guy's name, but Kobe Bryant, you know, whatever he did.
That's
favorite
our
basketball player of all time.
favorite athlete of all time.
Yeah, whatever he did, it was like full go. He's not going in there half mentality. You know, he's not half-assing anything. And I had a lot of teammates that told me, he came to our school and gave a speech, you know, a couple weeks before he died. And they just said, like, dude, his speech was one of the craziest speeches I've ever heard. Like, just, you know, his stories and stuff. And I really wish I could have just saw him speak one time. Like, dude, that guy is one of the best players ever.
I actually started a Kobe chant at the All-Star, the festivities before the NBA All-Star game in 2011. It was in Dallas, and Kobe was right in front of us. Huge crowd. It was all silence. We were waiting for him to speak, and I just said, "Screw it." I was like, "Kobe, Kobe," and the whole place started going Kobe. I got goosebumps. I wanted to cry. It was just filled with emotions.
No, he's definitely one of those dudes where it's like, obviously he's inspiring all of us. You know, none of us have even met him, but. Exactly, to answer your question, he's a guy that just goes all the way.
Yeah. So, but the word passion and effort, they're very different, right? So, like you said, could you do something you don't like with effort and still succeed? Yes, you can. But the word passion replacing the word effort means you like what you do, right? Like, passion involves liking or loving what you do. That's why you're passionate about it. So I think you can put effort, you know, you can put effort into Fisher stuff. You'll succeed. Yeah. But are you enjoying it? Yeah. Right? So
it's like the passion is like the cherry on the top, right? Like you can put an effort, but like until you have that passion factor in it,
it's not a milkshake.
It's not a milkshake. Exactly. There's going to be a limit there. So
but to kind of talk about that quote, so it doesn't say play with effort. You know, it's like play the game like you're passionate about it. You know, don't just go out there and just play and just go hard. You know, like that's not a cool quote. Hey, play hard. You know, it's like, no, go play like you're like full on passionate about it, you know.
But I also think Brady's very disciplined. Like, I think his dad taught him a lot so that he could play with passion. Because everything else that he doesn't like to do, that he knows will help him, he's very disciplined. He's like, I know I can't do this. I know I can't go out and party with everyone else. Have to do my homework, have to do my playbook. Everything he's like super hard that he doesn't like to do because he has that end goal. Right. Even if it's like something like school where he's like, I want to be in the NFL, but he still did school because he knows it's important.
Yeah, that discipline is part of the pillar. Like, here's success, right? Passion is one of them. There's discipline, and you need all of those in order to get here. Because if you're just passionate about something but you're not disciplined, then you're Antonio Brown, right? Like,
exactly.
So you know, you need a lot of things in order to get what you really want.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah, passion brings out the fun in fundamentals. Yeah, I don't know who said that.
What else do you guys have? Just actually picking his brain.
I mean, I could do this all day.
Yeah.
But just like some key opponents, key wide receivers you faced that you're like, what is going on right now?
or a tight end as a safety, or like who you've had to like cover in a matchup that you're like, wow, this guy
is incredible.
is gonna be.
Yeah. So Zach Ertz was a dude where I'm like, whoa, this guy is legit. I mean, I know he's kind of like, he's getting old now, but he still just has, that extra kick in his game.
Yeah.
So going against him was like, whoa, it's freaking Zach Ertz. It's kind of sick, But yeah, he was a guy that definitely stood out to me. AJ Green, he was impressive to go against.
They got a bunch of good weapons on that squad.
Yeah.
At least you guys didn't have to see Hopkins.
Yeah, no, we didn't have to see Hopkins. Yeah, but yeah, I guess just those two guys. It was kind of like, okay, these guys are just. There's a reason that they're so well known. There's a reason that they're so good, just because they have that extra pep in their step or something.
Yeah.
And then going against like Julio Jones in practice and stuff. Yeah. I mean, he would catch the ball and take off, and we're doing like a jog through. Yeah. So a jog through, it's like medium. And it's not a walkthrough, it's not a practice, but it's still you're not supposed to run full speed. He's catching the ball, boom, he's like running full speed. Whoa, that dude's freaking legit.
Calm down, Julio Jones.
Yeah, that dude's legit. And then Adrian Peterson, so he came to the Titans.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. And so my very first, or it was his first practice, and Coach Vrabel comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, Brady, put on your pads." I was like, "What? Like, I'm the only guy wearing pads out to practice?" He's like, "No, just you're gonna go heads up with Adrian Peterson."
Adrian Peterson.
Yeah. And so it was just supposed to be a helmet practice, and so I go out there with my pads, and everyone's like, "Dude, it's just helmets, right?" And I'm like, "No, dude, I gotta go heads up." And so it's me and Adrian Peterson going heads up at practice, and it wasn't like full on like Alabama drill or anything, but it was like. Vrabel told me I needed to just like pop him a little bit, get him used to like hitting people, because he hadn't hit people in a while. Yeah. And so here I am going freaking heads up with Adrian Peterson. It was kind of sick. I'll definitely never forget that.
That's incredible.
Yeah. But he's a guy, getting back to kind of like the walkthrough thing. He was full speed. Didn't even matter. Like you had to literally jump out of the way. He was going to try to run you over and wearing a walkthrough. Yeah. Like he was just different. Yeah. He's different.
So there's a formula here in order to be great.
Exactly.
You just gotta do things with passion, man.
Be different.
Yeah.
Be different.
And he didn't even talk to anybody. He was just like, everything he did was just
man on a mission.
Go. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's impressive.
You've mentioned so when you're watching football, right? And as a casual fan, we see the offense and we see what the offense is doing. It's very easy to see all the motions and things like that. But just briefly, can you tell me, like, when you're watching it, what should I be looking at in terms of defense? You mentioned some of the defensive line switches and things like that. But what more so that we can understand really what the defense is doing to stop in the offense? Yeah,
so instead of watching the ball every time, because I even do the same thing. Like if you're watching TV, you just want to watch the ball. You don't even see what the heck is going on, at the top of the screen. So always look at the D-line, because I feel like you just don't really notice it. You're just watching the snap of the ball. Because if you see the D-line get pushed back, the play is over. Or if you see the offensive line do the opposite, they get pushed back forward. That's how you see those big plays and stuff like that. So just kind of keep your eyes out for stuff like that. And then special teams, I guess, kind of watch those sometimes. I feel like people don't really watch it, but always watch the front line on kickoff, because you'll see some big collisions at the front line. And I feel like, the TV guy, he just kind of scans over and then they go, "Hey, we're trying to get an ad, They're just trying to market stuff. They don't even watch it. But always watch the front line. That's when you see those big collisions and stuff.
I wish we could see like a sky cam of the whole field.
I know.
They did that one year, and then it didn't work out. Like a lot of viewers didn't like that. But I want to see everything, like everything that's going on.
I know.
You brought up. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you. You brought up a great point earlier about like where you sit at like sporting events, and that's one reason when I go watch a football game, I love sitting further back, because I can see everything. I can scan the entire field. I can see where that safety goes. But on TV, they're so quick to cut off everything that's not ball dominant that you don't have an opportunity to see the rest of it.
Yeah. There's a reason when everyone's sitting on the bench, while the offense is out there, you see everyone looking up at the screen. Yeah. Because if you're standing on the sideline, you can't really see as well. It's just not the same. Yeah. So that's why everyone, I feel like they're just lazy and we just all look up so we can just get the bigger picture. I don't know. Yeah.
Shall we move into the rapid fire section?
I think so. I think that we did a good job of covering everything. So a little bit of a rapid fire segment. I'm just going to throw quick questions at you. They're like one or the other, or typically like a one-word answer. So first thing that comes to your mind, even if it doesn't answer the question.
All right.
So, rapid fire. Favorite stadium you've played in?
Cowboys Stadium.
Boom. Go-to karaoke song?
Oh, man, Sweet Caroline.
I love it. I love it. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
What?
guilty pleasure movie.
Guilty pleasure movie? What the heck does that mean?
Something that maybe
Like
you
rom-com.
secretly enjoy watching
Oh,
that you wouldn't open.
Your agent movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Jerry Maguire.
Okay,
Oh.
okay, that's fair. Role model.
Tom Brady.
Boom. Basketball or baseball?
Baseball.
Spirit animal.
Shark.
I love that. Whiskey or beer?
Whiskey.
And if football didn't exist, what would you be doing?
I would be doing business or sales. So in business, I would be doing sales or possibly finance, stuff like that.
Wow.
Yes.
You hear that, Fisher? Yeah, that's my rapid fire segment. Let's jump into the game. So
Yeah.
obviously mentioned it to you, but
Yeah, so the game that we have is we've got a bunch of names of players. Some are made up and some are real. They could be current players or non, like, in the
Former
past,
players,
former
yeah.
players. So first one, and I'm probably gonna butcher up their name. So you guys,
What do I say? Just real or fake?
Yeah, real or
fake.
fake.
That's it.
Panay Sewell.
Real.
We gave you a softball question.
Bob.
Yeah. Javier Todd.
Fake.
Got it.
All right, 2 for 2. Haha Clinton Dix.
Real.
Of course.
Brandon Gordon.
Real.
Ooh, it's fake.
That's a fake name.
That's a fake name.
Brandon Gordon?
Yeah.
How have I heard that?
I don't know. See,
Melvin
like
Gordon.
two very-
Melvin Gordon.
Melvin Gordon.
Okay.
There's a lot of
It
familiarity.
was so
Okay.
hard for us to find fake names that would
Yeah.
actually work.
No, that's a good one.
Yeah. No. So next one, Greg Jones.
Fake.
Real.
That's a real
Real.
name.
What the heck is that?
2000
Former fullback for the Jacksonville Jaguars, drafted in 2004.
That was a
You
hard
guys just
one.
picked that random.
Oh yeah, right. But the reason that's funny is that's such a Greg Jones. Like it could be
Yeah,
anything. That
exactly.
could be anybody.
All right. Captain Munnerlin.
I don't even know. Fake.
He's actually real.
Who the
That is
heck
a real
is that?
fact.
Defensive line for the Bengals, drafted in 2006.
No,
His
no, no,
real
no,
name
no,
is
He's
Captain.
actually a cornerback. So he was a cornerback,
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
drafted by the Panthers. Actually played for the Vikings. He was a nickel.
His real name is Captain.
Captain.
His- yeah,
Captain
first name
Munnerlin.
That's
Captain.
sweet.
Yeah.
That's
These,
sick.
these are bizarre. We don't
Yeah.
expect anything to go properly here. It's bizarre.
Louis Divine.
Fake.
Frosty Rucker.
Real.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a tough one. Have you heard of that?
He's
no,
getting
it had to be too crazy
Yeah.
to be real.
Exactly.
So I was like, oh, it must be real.
Octavio Taylor.
Fake.
Yeah. Good call.
good, man.
You're on a roll here. Rock Yasen.
Fake.
He's real.
He's the
Yasen.
cornerback for the Colts.
Yeah.
Rock
okay.
Yesen.
That was pretty good.
Oh,
I did-
Yasen,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that was a solid
Yeah.
performance.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to come up if we continue to do this similar segment with a bunch of different names. But
Exactly.
the whole idea behind it is getting really generic names that could obviously be fake or real, right? That's like
John
Greg
Smith?
Jones. Yeah, I literally said that yesterday.
Yeah.
What about like John Smith?
Have you seen that the Key and Peele of John Smith?
Yeah. Yes. Oh, Key and Peele. That's great.
Oh yeah, and last one, Brady Breeze.
I don't know about that.
I'll answer that for
Those
you.
are two quarterbacks, right?
He a real one, baby. He is as real as it gets. No, that's fantastic. That's good. Appreciate you playing the game with us. This is it. This is the last thing we have on the floor for you, Brady. Again, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit here. Feel free to take your time, think about this. There's no pressure. But here's the scenario, Brady. Brady, your playing days are over now. It's been like 20 years later. You're done playing. Your body's broken down. But you have a sharp enough mind that the NFL decided that they want to hire you as a head coach. So you are currently head coaching an NFL team who will not be named, but they are in the Super Bowl right now. Unfortunately, it is halftime. You're in the locker room. You are down 24-0. You need to give some sort of a motivational or inspirational speech or a pep talk to your locker room to get them ready to play. They don't have to come back and win this game, but to act like they belong. Like Dan Campbell has instilled in pretty much all of the lines this year. Give us your best motivational, inspirational speech to this locker room. The floor is yours.
Man, 24-0. All right, so I would walk in. I'd be like, hey, guys, I know it's not going too well right now. I know we're down 24-0, but it's not anything that we can't accomplish. We made it this far. We're in the Super Bowl. It's halftime. We still have a whole nother half left. We got 2 quarters left, and we just need to go play our ball. All season we've been, doing well. We've gotten to this point. There's a reason we're in the Super Bowl. We're not just another team. We're not just another group of guys out there. We're in the Super Bowl, so there's no reason for us to not go out there and play our best football. So let's come out there, and get some points in our first possession. We're getting the ball in the second half. So let's get the ball, get a good return, and get the offense going. And defense, we're going to need to stop right away, and we're going to be going full gas on the break. No breaks, all gas, no breaks. Let's see what we can do here. 24-0 doesn't mean anything to us. Let's go, boys.
Let's
go.
USA! I love that. That's fantastic.
Got me riled up.
I got goosebumps. I'm ready to go hit somebody. Appreciate that, dude. I know that can be tough, but that was all off the cuff. So unlike Drake, that was all off the cuff. So appreciate that, Brady. Do you guys have anything else?
No, I'm just excited. I'm happy we got to do this.
Yeah.
Thank you for making this happen, and thank you for coming. We had a great time.
Yeah, glad you guys reached out to Mason, kind of made this work. Definitely glad I got to be a part of this. I know you guys have put in a lot of work in doing this for me and getting all the shirts and everything, getting me a little present and stuff. You guys have got a great setup, and I'm really excited to be a part of a good podcast. I feel like you guys are going to do some great things with this. It's very professional, and I'm really excited to see what you guys can do. And thanks again for having me.
Yeah, thanks
put
for
me
being
in tears,
here.
bro. You're gonna
Yeah.
put me in tears.
Maybe we
Again.
can get Panay on here. We could.
I have to reach out.
Did my work again.
No, absolutely. And again, at the end of the day, we are so grateful that you guys gave us your time, right? Because time is invaluable to everybody, no matter what you're doing in life. So thank you so much for joining us. Macy, thank you so much for coordinating this. If anything down the road, if ever you want to jump back on, or if there's anything out there moving forward that we can do to help you in any way possible, certainly let us know. But you have done wonders for us today, and we could not be more grateful.
Absolutely. Yep.
This is Brady Breeze. He is the safety for the Detroit Lions. Thank you so much for joining us, Brady. Thank you so much for joining us, Macy. Show of it. Shout out Zelina. I'm Sweetcar. We're the Only Playbook. We will see you guys next time.